baby. Joey, I hope you feel as good as you look, my man. Where are you joining us from today?
Yeah, I'm home. I'm home. We've taken a couple weeks off here, and I'm actually heading back to the studio today. It's my first day back at work, so I'm excited to get back in there.
No kidding. Monday, May 11th, people back in there for TSN Montreal. So can you please give us an update of what's going on in Montreal with the Impact, the Alouettes, the city itself? I mean, we are a sports show, but just give me a report on Montreal.
Yeah, man. I mean, the numbers they're still pretty high. I mean, generally, when you look across the rest of Canada, I feel like Montreal, different pockets of Montreal are kind of the hot spot of the country, and it's tough. I mean, like my wife and I live downtown, and there's a lot of people that seem to be out and about when the weather's been nice. And we're right on the canal, so a lot of people are going out for strolls and stuff like that. And it seems like everyone's kind of respecting the social distance type of thing. But for whatever reason, I mean, the numbers just are not going down right now. So I mean, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, but it's still, I mean, it's a little sliver of light, not too much.
Well, let me ask you this. It's been 60 days now, and for the most part, people that I know are being taken care of by the government if they have to. They're not that worried. What I hear the most is boredom. But as time's going on here, I'm hearing a lot of more fear, and people are doing some crazy things. Do you have a sense of fear of the population of Montreal and Quebec?
No, I think maybe if there was a sense of fear, a little more general sense of fear, maybe we wouldn't be in the predicament that we're in. But again, like where we are, it's a lot of young professionals, so you kind of have that attitude of invincibility. Like even for me sometimes, it's like you're frustrated, you want to go out, you want to just sit down, go to a restaurant, and you kind of just have to stop yourself. Well, not, you can't even stop yourself because nothing's open. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you talk to some people who are a little older, taking it a little more serious, and you kind of get the sense that they're taking the necessary precautions. But with some of the younger people here, I mean, they're a little more out and about, and they're walking around, and there's a lot of people jogging and stuff like that, which is cool. I mean, listen, if you're respecting social distance, I'm good with you. There's no problem there, and I get it. People are going a little stir crazy, but Roddy, I'm just about ready for some sports here. I'm just about ready for some, give me some CFL football, give me some hockey, give me anything. I need something.
Well, that is a wonderful segue. And might I suggest the Korean Baseball Organization? We've all picked a team. Nobody's picked the Giants, by the way. They're unbeaten at 5-0. Justin Dunk's Heroes are 5-1. Your Eagles are 2-4. So we're following that. I follow the scores every morning. I thought the UFC the other night was great. Joey, obviously, I'm not the biggest fan, but I'll watch it. I paid for it. But was it last week you and I talked and you mentioned how the Alouettes, you love the Alouettes beat. That's kind of your thing. So tell me about the Owls, and if Gary Stern, do you think, and Sid Spiegel, the new owners, are going, what did we get ourselves into?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's a little frustrating when you've shelled out some money and you've paid some bills, and they've rearranged things in the front offices and in the offices in general, and then you want to see your shiny new toy unveiled at training camp, and you can't do so. So I think there's some frustration there. But for the most part, I think these are a couple of smart gentlemen, a smart family that realized that this was always going to be a long-term play, right? They weren't going to make money in the short term. They were going to have to spend some money to make some money, and they were going to have to iron out the spending. And so I think that there's some frustration because you want to see your new toy in action. But if they could go back and do it again, they can only answer that question. But I'd imagine that they'd still do so, just knowing that this was a long-term project more than anything short-term. But it's got to be frustrating. I can't even imagine how frustrating that is.
Can you speak to the love for the Alouettes in Montreal, by the way? Because we're out here in Western Canada and people just don't get it. You saw the poll from Angus Reid last week saying Quebec would miss the NFL more than the CFL if they had to cancel a season. And I just thought that was a kick to the gut for the Alouettes fans because I don't think they get enough credit. They love the Alouettes in Montreal, don't they?
They do. I mean, it's a long history, right? Like since 1946, and yeah, from 87 to 96, there was no football here. But I think the thing you need to realize is, when I talked Anthony Calvillo and Mike Pringle and Ben Cahoon, like that's almost 10 years ago already. So you have a lot of this new generation of football fan that's, hasn't necessarily seen a winner or a playoff team or a competitive team up until last season. It's been a stretch. The Alouettes have the second longest Grey Cup drought at 2010. And, I think there's a large segment of the population that's kind of tuned out, or a large segment of the population, the up and coming, the youngsters that, they haven't seen a winner, and that's why they haven't been interested. So, I think with some winning, obviously having a season would help. But, if they continue on this right track, I think you'll see, the younger demographic kind of pop up and gravitate towards the Alouettes again, because the Impact have missed the playoffs the last couple of years. Although there's some excitement with them and with Thierry Henry as their coach. They got off to a good start in MLS regular season and in Champions League. I don't have to tell you about the Canadians, and it's basically been, I think it's like 1 year in the playoffs now, the last 5 years, and they got bounced in the first round that year anyway. So the Canadians haven't been very good. So there's kind of an opening there for one of these three teams to step up and be the class of the city in their respective league. And it's just a question of, which one's going to do that. And I think that's why you're seeing that, especially youngsters with fantasy football and all that, they love the NFL right now more than maybe they do the Alouettes. But I definitely think there's some room to grow if they can string a couple of competitive seasons together and maybe just add in a Grey Cup.
Well, it's interesting you say that too, by the way. We're talking about the teams, and let's not forget Georges St-Pierre. He was called the most famous athlete to ever come out of Canada on the weekend when he went into the UFC Hall of Fame. He's got a lot of fans, and you make a great point. You go a decade without football in your city, that's going to have a massive impact. And I will ask you this lastly, Joey. What about one season without CFL football? Are your confidants and friends talking about what might happen here? Give me your take on the state of the CFL and maybe on Ambrosie's address last week.
Yeah, I'm always going to be like, just knowing, and Roddy, you know how it is, right? Like a lot of these American guys, they're out of school or they've bounced around the NFL, they've bounced around different leagues, and, they come up to a different country and they're willing to start out at $55,000, $60,000 Canadian, and they put their bodies on the line. So I'm always going to be a player's first guy. I'm in awe of what these players put themselves through. So the fact that, Randy Ambrosie, he's asking for up to $150 million. I thought the amount was high. I'm hoping that the federal government will help out. But I thought the amount was high. But to go in without a plan, or just without anything with the association being involved, are these players going to get paid? Are they not going to get paid? I mean, these are all things the federal government wants to know. And, the fact that you didn't have an accord, or you weren't on the same page as the players going into that is really disappointing. I like Randy Ambrosie. I think he's a smart man. I've had the chance to speak to him on numerous occasions, but there's a couple things over the last year, I'd say, the way the whole Alouettes ownership situation was handled. They put, some dates they wanted to get the sale done by, and it ended up going way longer than that. There was the whole NFL window thing this offseason that didn't sit well with me either. And now you have this, where this is critical. The league's at a critical stage right now where, they need this money or they might not be able to continue, which would be a shame. And it just seemed like, for lack of a better word, it seemed like a half-baked idea. And, you don't have anybody from the Players Association involved, and you haven't really spoken to the players about, the distributing of finances and how this money is going to help them. It seems half-baked, and it's unfortunate that it comes to this. I really hope that they do get some federal funding. But yeah, I mean, it's for a guy like me. I cover the league. I'm a supporter of the league. It's definitely dark days. It's not a good feeling.
No. Well, we take it one day at a time. That's what we do, and we hope for the best, obviously, Joey, but listen to the officials and stay safe. And obviously you're doing that. I appreciate it, my man. We'll check in throughout the summer. Here's hoping for the best.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
Joey Alfieri joining us from Montreal, TSN 690, which, by the way, clearly he's a great dude. I asked him, what is your nationality? You speak Italian, you speak French. He goes, I'm a mutt. He's everything.
Yeah.
English, French, Montreal, or English, French, Italian. They just throw it all into a melting pot there.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.